major scale. 100% never thought about a triad shape at all. When you attempt to improvise or solo over a chord progression like this, are you struggling because you're chasing the chord progression around with triads and not getting the result that you want? Or are you just not using the mother of all scales, the major scale? So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to improvise and create melodies and solos over that very chord progression using the major scale exclusively. So there's so many lessons out there on triads and how to use them when you're soloing, but when it comes to a progression like this, the major scale just might be the best option. Now I realize triads are all built from the major scale and live inside it, but you don't have to kind of pinpoint and target them as much as you might think. So for this video, I'm just going to show you two C major scale patterns, and these are going to be more of the box variety and not the 3-note per string style that some of you might have gotten under your belt and already use. I really never warmed up to the 3-note per string style of playing exclusively. I do it, but not in the way that the more faster, shreddier players might use it. So we're going to take more of the box pattern, and we're going to start here on the 8th fret, actually. And if you know a C major pentatonic like this, that's 5 notes. All we're going to add is 2 more notes to make it a complete major scale, an F and a B. So our notes will be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Good old do, re, mi that a lot of you are probably neglecting in your soloing. Then we can take it up to the next octave, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And if we want to grab that D, it's there for us too. But if we play it root to root, that's the first one that we're going to be using. And let's go down on the guitar neck, and we're going to make our pinky that first note. So check this out. Again, if you know your C major pentatonic or an A minor pentatonic, because they're one and the same, if we started it on a C, there's our C major pentatonic. Now, if we added our F and our B notes, it goes something like this. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Continue on up. Now you can continue to go down because you don't want to leave any stone unturned, and that gives you a C, B, and an A until you run out of real estate. So those are the scales that we're going to use, and let's talk about playing them over top of that track. So the chord progression that we're going to play is in C, obviously, and we're going to start with our C chord here, our little Hendrickson version with the E in the bass, to a D minor, back to a C, to a G. I like to play it like a bar chord but without the bar, to an F, A minor, same idea, G, and that's it. And the two most important chords to really be listening for in this progression are the C and the G. And we can use those notes in our scale as markers. So when we're playing our scale, we might want to find the C's, and we want to take advantage of where the G's are too. Same thing here. So really the root and the 5th are going to be some important notes to at least have an idea of where to land. But more importantly, a lot of people just don't experiment with the chord progression in this scale. They say, well, I got to play each triad over the chord, and I want to show you how that might not be the best option. To chase around a C to a D minor to a G it's going to sound a little nursery rhymey for my taste. I like to play more of the longer lines and see what good notes we can find. This is also a good ear training device too. So let's roll the track and just play the scale, and I'll talk through it with you. So I have the track pulled up, and I just want to play the scales over top of it, and that's something that a lot of instructors will advise against. But for this purpose, we're just getting our feet wet. We're hearing how the sounds work over top of the chord progression, how these notes are going to work. and we want to try all the colors before we paint the picture or taste the ingredients before we make the meal. So let's just run the scale patterns, the two that I showed you over top of the track. Here we go. 2, ready, go. So it works, right? Yeah, not really any bad notes to speak of, but you notice that chord progression's moving pretty quickly, and by playing those notes like that, we're kind of weaving in and out of them just by running the scale. We haven't even tried to play any licks or ideas yet. But let's try to do that. What would happen if I combine both of those? I know them well enough to jump in and out of each pattern. We can use all of our guitar techniques like slides, bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs if we want, but let's take a listen to how just some melodic ideas with just the scale, only those scale notes with some guitaristic techniques, but no triads, okay? So let's check it out. 2, ready, go. Right, so nothing fancy, just kind of playing with some notes in the scale. And when you get presented with a chord progression like that, you want to think of this major scale and what I'm doing and the style I'm doing it, just playing little ideas. And finding great places to land. And the biggest and best place to land are the root notes. C. So you make sure you know where your roots are in your scale. And in this instance, the C and the G chords are the most important. They're giving me the pull that I want to those particular notes. And notice that I didn't outline any of the chords with a traditional triad shape or sound. If I did, it might sound something like this. 2, ready, here's the C. To me, doing that doesn't really do much. It kind of sounds very nursery rhymish. Now, it's important to see good money notes within those triads, but if you notice when I was playing my solo in the previous segment there, I didn't really do anything that was triad driven. I was playing notes and ideas melodically that sounded good together, and I found C's and G's to land on. That's it. And generally, when you have a progression like this, you'll be pulled to what is commonly referred to as a key center. And that's the way I like to think, is key center driven. What's my key? I know if I stay within that, I'm gonna be, pretty much home free with any of my ideas. Now, what you can do is take some triad ideas, and why it's tricky to use triads, the chords are moving too quickly. C, D minor, C, G, F, A minor, G, okay? It's really hard to kind of go, I don't prefer that sound as much as that. I couldn't get that by going. So that's where I think people get tripped up with trying to force triadic playing over top of this, when just run the scale. All major scale. 100% never thought about a triad shape at all. That got me into trouble later in my life when I was so away from triads, but I don't hear people playing over those kinds of grooves and really thinking triads all the time. You might be seeing the notes in the triad, like the C, the E, and the G, and the A, the D, and the F, and the B, D, and G for the particular chords that are going by, but I don't get stuck in trying to I don't get stuck on that. I just try to play the scale, and if I see something happening that lets me kind of play something very triad oriented, I'll do it. Let's see if I can. I might fall on my face. Ready, go. Now there, I know that my G and B live because that's part of my triad. It's my third. And I can't even play triad because my brain wants to go single lines. And what you can do is maybe play a C triad as a jumping off spot. Maybe you're so the answers are in there, but they're just all in C as well. You know, you can find the C and the G notes in that C triad. But again, I did not go, you know, to me that just doesn't work, and it sounds like a nursery rhyme. But that's why I really wanted to point out how important C major scale, or just knowing your major scales and playing them over a track, is so important. So I hope that was helpful. Speaking of tracks, you can get that track in the links below. I'll also give you fretboard diagrams. I guess I'll tab it out too. I'd really like for you to just commit the pattern to memory as opposed to being reliant on strings, frets, and that sort of thing. But I'll give you a fretboard diagram and the tab and the track. So grab that, play along, and see if you can start making melodies. All right, so go try these major scales over that chord progression. Do not lose sight of your major scales. They're the most important scale you could know. Everything comes from it. And again, there's loads of different kinds of lessons about improvising at workingclassguitar.com, and you can check all those links out in the links below. Comment, description, you know where to find them. All right, everybody, thanks so much. I'll see you on another lesson soon.